Hello, everybody, and welcome to Series 2, the theme of which is How are NGOs going online? As a guest today, we have Eugene Tornyeavah. And could we have a little introduction from you, Eugene?
And hi, everybody. So, like she said, my name is Eugene Tornyeavah. I'm speaking from the UK right now, but originally I'm from Ghana, and my NGO work has been in Ghana, rural Ghana. And I am a co-founder of Clit NGO. We've been running since 2015, and it's a health-based NGO. We've done work in rural Ghana. We've gone to Burkina Faso, which is the next country north of Ghana. We've done some work there. We've been able to work with we've been able to effect some change in the lives of rural people, about more than 100,000 people physically, and through virtual means. Even prior to the pandemic, we've done work virtually, and beneficiaries of that could be close to more than 5 million or more. Yeah, so our work is about health, trying to keep people healthy, getting people informed about what they need to do, things they need to know to be able to take better care of themselves. We do screenings, we do tests physically for free, just to get people to know what their health status is now and what they can do about this kind of thing. So that's basically what my life and my work has been about.
That's lovely to hear, and I'm so honored to have you here today. Thank you once again. So I had a couple of questions for you, and if we could begin. Yeah. So the first one I had was, what made you, what event influenced you to start an NGO, to do something for the society?
Thank you so much for that question. I think this will come back to my time in India. So people who don't know, I have spent 3 years in India. I have been a beneficiary of an Indian government scholarship. So I spent 3 years studying in DU, Delhi University, and I studied applied psychology. During my time in India, I had the privilege to interact with so many people, both Indians and other internationals, students, and also people working in industries. I met young people who had started businesses and were doing okay. We had this corporate, I wouldn't even call it corporate meeting. We had this meeting for young, passionate people where we were meeting every Wednesday. Just we have different locations. We meet up over drinks or something and just talk about problems or things around us and find solutions to it. Every night that we raise one issue, we all sit around, brainstorm, deliberate over it, and then we find solutions to it before the end of the night. So that's what we were doing. And when my time in India ended and I go back to Ghana, I thought this was something we can initiate and we can do this around us also. We have a lot of young people around who just want a direction. They want to know what to do, what can they do to support society. So I started with friends, people who can, just be there, people who you can have easy access to. We started meetings and we're meeting, talking about ideas, what we can do as individuals, as a group. And there was one of those meetings where 3 friends, myself and 2 other colleagues that I went to high school with, Dr. Akiti and then Anthony Dogwe. So we met that day and we're just talking, as we usually do, talking about problems around us, what we can do. And we found a common theme, which is that we professionally, I'm a nurse and now becoming a clinical psychologist as well. We found a common theme, which was health. We can do some work in this. Initially, nobody thought about the social impact because we're young people who obviously would want to do something as work and earn money, right? So the angle was something business. What can we do? So once the deliberation went on, I thought, no, if it's about health, we are from Ghana and the economic status of Ghana is not so high that we can start a business right now and make good money from it in health, because the people who really need the health services cannot really afford it. we are quite privileged. What can we do? What's the gap? What how can we come into the gap, right? So I thought, how about we start this as a project and then see how we can get the health services to people. Let's start this as a project. If we see a business angle of it along the way, we can establish that. So I was able to convince friends, and then we started this project. By end of 2015, we had process registration process and all that. We started the program, and by I think the first day of 2016, we held our first outreach, and it was the first time I went into a community to do some work for people, and it was something that was relieving. It was gratifying. Although we spent our money to get the test kits and everything to work for people, it felt good. And ever since, we hadn't stopped. We kept doing that. Yeah. So that's like this back of the story. Yeah.
Beautiful. So did you also how do you manage to raise funds now at this point?
That's really a big question. Funding, I can say for a fact that since we started 2015, 16, 17, all that time, we've never had a major funding. One, it's because maybe we haven't explored the capacity to seek funding. If most people don't know, but we, those who are health inclined, our focus is all about health, either the hospital or the patient, what to do for the patient. Hardly do we know ways of doing so many other things. So it requires partnerships, people who are into that specific that field, their niche. We need those kind of people to work together and be able to promote these things. So over the years, we haven't really sought funds. We haven't received any major funding. What we were doing is either myself or my co-founders, co-managers, we find a way to put in something from our own pockets. We reach out to friends, those who are willing to support the projects we do, what we do. And I would say there's been a lot of people who always give something. Their widow's mites and all that. They've been doing that. And that has kept us going to a point when you invite us to do some work for you. If we hadn't been a project plan, it means we can't afford it immediately, right? So if you invited us to do some work for you, we would probably send you a budget of what we need. You can provide it and just call us. We'll find our way there and work for you. We're not doing it for business, so we didn't need any profit or anything. We just find our way there and we work for you. So I think that's what has kept us going. During the pandemic, which I think you would want me to talk about, things have changed. Our work is mostly in the communities. We want to work with people. We want to, test them, draw some blood,
physically,
see what can we do, physical work. And the pandemic has made that very difficult. Work had come to a halt, I should say, although we didn't stop working. Our focus had shifted to education. So all we're trying to do is educate people on the pandemic. What do you need to do? What knowledge do you need to have? Information's out there. Which one, or all the information out there, which one is good information? Which one is bad information? The myth, which one truly is the best information you can consume? So that was what we were trying to do. We've done some support for communities. We've given PPEs, face masks. We've even given some protective covers and all that to hospitals, which we didn't get ourselves. We also had some partnership with other people, and we lobbied for that. It got for us. So that is the kind of work we have tried to do in the pandemic as well. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's great. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that in this time, everything has to be online, right? To, have a really an online base in this time is very important. So how do you really plan on going and growing online? How did you do that?
Okay. So it's true that most industries, most businesses, and most organizations have moved online. I believe that's the next phase for projects and our businesses which are not there yet. It's just a little difficult if what you do needs the people, right? There's no way we can go online right now and start taking blood samples. There's no way I can have that physical contact with a patient, and the sense of touch to feel that this temperature or this can be an indicator of something. So that part of it has been difficult. And from where we operate, there's been so much deprivation or the inequalities in the system, and it's been in most communities. The pandemic has actually increased these inequalities. What am I trying to say? There are people who don't even have access to tools, mobile phones, computers, and all that. Even there are people who have access to this, but the digital, like the internet coverage to these areas are weak or are just not there. So how do we involve these people? How do we bring all these people under the same umbrella where they can benefit from the initiatives we are taking online? That is difficult. And for us, those are the kind of people we want to reach. There's so much available. People with this privilege are getting that already. Our work is that we want the other people, the rural folks who don't have access to that, to still get this interventions. So that part has been difficult for us. As I said, we don't really have fundings. We can't say we are the ones going to now provide these tools, computers, and all that to the communities. That will be difficult for us. So in a way, it has halted a part of what we do. We've been forced to now, do Zoom calls, and that can only happen with communities which can afford it. A few weeks or months ago, we did some work with a school, and I have praised the Islamic educational units in the Greater Accra region, that's in Ghana. When we reached out to them that we wanted to do this event, we have worked with them a lot in the past. So when we reached out that we wanted to do this event with the kids, they were forthcoming. They were like, sure, they can organize it. And what did they do? They found ways. I know schools in Ghana, most people will not know, but schools in Ghana don't really have access to the internet. You're not even supposed to have phones in school and all that, because it's just classroom teaching where they operate support. But times are changing. What did these people do? Schools are back in session anyway. So the headmasters, the teachers, and the educational unit, they found a way to organize this event, get the event projected for the students to view, and they were able to interact from our side. We did that event I was here in the UK, my partners were in China, and then other partners in Ghana. So we did that across these 3 continents, and we're still able to reach these kids, talk to them about health, and educate, get this credible information to them. So, those inequalities need to be addressed for the relevant work we are also trying to do in the communities to be felt. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's great. So, I mean, for testing blood samples and everything, do you have anything set up that is, people can book a slot online or something?
Yeah. So we have a website, which is clit.org, CLITH.org. What we do is we don't have a setup, but you can contact us, and we are very mobile. We're mobile. You can contact us and we get to you. Like I said, it's not work we can do online. We do have e-consultations. We had this before the pandemic. So you could book, and we book a confidentiality or a confidential call or chat with one of our professionals. What we do is that as an organization, we are not in total control of everything. We have the means, we have the platform, and we recruit volunteers. So I can say we have a pool of more than 200 health professionals, from medical doctors, surgeons, emergency nurses, lab scientists, social workers, and all this. But we have a pool of these people that we talk to. If we have projects, we just inform that we have a project on this day. Those are available. They all sign up, and we find ways to pick them up, go to these locations. That's what we have been doing. So we are working with the people. Basic consultations I'm talking about as well. These are professionals who are working in various hospitals in Ghana. So they haven't stopped working. They are working professionally throughout the pandemic. What we do is, if you have a problem, if you contact the organization, we're able to put you in touch, book these sessions, a time slot for you, where you can have those consultations with these professionals for free. If you went to the hospital to do that, you would have paid for consultation, right? But that is a part of what we've been doing, and we still try to do in the pandemic. Yeah,
that's awesome. The last question I have was, how do you really feel by working and giving back to society, for doing things for the needy and the people who were, like, from the rural areas, the less privileged?
Yeah, I said earlier, I'll say that again. It's delighting. It feels great when you go to communities to do this. I have always felt this over my career, because there are people I don't even know that I have probably attended to in the hospital. I don't remember the faces. There are times I am either on Facebook or in the community, and somebody on Facebook, somebody will make a comment, and that the picture you have posted, or somebody will tell you directly in the market that, oh, thank you so much for the other day, you saved my life, or you saved my child's life. And you don't remember the situation, because you see a lot of these things. So that is gratifying. Away from that personal gain you get from that, going into these communities where they don't have access, they don't have anything, they are lagging, and you're able to effect some change, inform them. There are people we meet in the communities who have very, very high blood pressure, and if you know anything about this, a high blood pressure can just kill you instantly, and then people will start blaming others that you've been poisoned, you've been this, which is not true. A very high blood pressure can land you in stroke in a minute. It can kill you without even sending you through that lane. So people walk around with this and they don't know. Some people just have headaches and they think it's just a headache, and they go off, they take some painkiller, or they take some pills, and they're okay. Some of this need to be checked. And going to these communities to see these problems, and then being able to do something to help, being able to sometimes refer these clients to hospitals nearby, since we will not be there always, for them to go for regular checkups and then take control of their health. These have been things that I would say have changed lives. People have lived the next day, probably because we have checked one or two things for them that day, and then realized that no, this is an emergency. You needed to do something about this. So I think over the past 5 years, it's been really awesome. Personal gains are a lot. When somebody comments you for coming into their community to do ABC for them, and they enjoyed it, you also feel good about that. I think it's also opened doors for me, for my volunteers, and for most people to do other things. I've had a privilege of meeting people, like very important people, not necessarily only when I started doing this charity work, but after that, people see what you're doing. Everybody's working, everybody's doing so many things, but when you are giving out to the communities or to people without wanting anything back,
right,
people come that, so it's given us some form of some kind of joy, and we feel good about that. We feel good about what we do, and much credit goes to my volunteers, the team, and everybody. I couldn't have been doing this without them, so it's been something that has been gratifying, I would say.
That's great. Lovely to hear. Thank you for your time, and thank you for once again for answering my questions. It was lovely having you on today.
Same here. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. I think I should add this. When you got in touch with me on LinkedIn and you introduced yourself to me, I was like, this is great. One, I was telling a friend that if anybody messaged me from India about any of these things, even if I was busy, no matter what, I would do my best to be available for it, because I feel a sense of attachment to the country. I feel a sense of, there's a bond there.
Connection, right?
There's a connection there because I've spent a great deal of time in India. I've interacted with the people, and I love the people. And for what the government had done to me, to be able to come and get education there at no cost, I believe that's the taxpayers, money, or the taxpayers' resources that was extended to me as well. So I wouldn't have turned this down for anything. And to say that you are only 16 years and you have started this, that is really great.
Thank you so
really,
much.
I'm really excited about that. So I wish you all the best. I wish you great things in the future. And at any point in time, if you need me for anything, just send me a message and I will do my best to be available. Okay.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. And yeah, I wish the same for you, and have a great day.
Have a great evening, sir. Bye.